Yes, sir.
You're still here, sir. Do you want to have this meeting outside in the fresh air, or do you want to meet inside here in the...
Outside's fine.
Okay, and I'm going to ask you now before anyone else, can you switch off any mobile device that you have or anything else in my presence, please?
But I'm not looking for a private conversation.
No,
I'm looking for
asking, I don't want anything recorded.
I'm looking for public information.
Pardon?
I'm looking for information
I'm
available
asking you
to the public.
switch off any device.
I'm not required to.
No, but I'm asking you, are you recording this conversation?
I will have to, yeah.
I'm asking you not to record this conversation.
Why?
Because you're meant to actually ask someone if you, when you...
Oh no, but can I just say on that issue, there's no expectation of privacy in a public place. I've been recorded since I came in here.
Hang on. I'm just asking you not to record our conversation.
You're asking me, so you can't assert that as law.
No, it's not law. I'm asking you not to.
Okay, so as I've stated, I reinstate, no problem. I'm not looking for a private conversation. I'm just looking for information that's available to the public.
Sergeant Hospital's going to be with me, and I'm going to be taking notes of that meeting. Okay?
That's perfectly fine.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I have it here when there's no one here, so...
Okay, no problem. So I just want to know regarding what's coming into effect on Monday in relation to masks.
Okay, what's coming into effect as far as we know on Monday hasn't been confirmed 100% to us as far as I know, but I'm sure it's been unmuted, but it's going to be mandatory to wear face coverings in shops.
Okay, when you say mandatory, what do you mean by that?
I'm not too sure because we haven't seen the regulations precisely, but as soon as we see the regulations we will have more information. But if we get the information what the other regulations are saying, but if someone doesn't comply with the regulations, that basically there will be an offence.
Okay.
Basically, they could end up before the courts or whatever.
Okay, they could, or because
I don't know what I don't know. I'm not going to speculate here in front of you.
Because it is about this information. Yeah.
I'm not going to speculate and say something when I haven't seen the regulations.
I don't want you to.
But that's what you're asking me.
No. So what I'm asking you for is information that's already available to the public.
Yes.
But I'm looking to know from a Gardaí perspective is
I haven't seen the regulations.
how is
the guards have had.
Yeah. So
how can I give you information when I haven't seen the regulations?
Well, you've given me information already.
Yes.
You've given me some information.
Yeah, but
okay.
I haven't seen the regulations yet.
Okay, so what I can tell you is that on the Citizens Information website it says that it could be 6 months in prison or up to, I think it's 2,500 or 3,500, don't quote me on that, but it's a substantial fine.
Yes.
Now I find that if, as a man of Ireland, 3 of us are men of Ireland, tax-paying men, we have an entitlement to be able to eat.
But members of the public also have an entitlement when the government make law to be safe and when they're out and about to feel safe.
Can I ask you a question?
COVID-19 is legal.
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely legal.
Can I ask you a question?
How many people have died from COVID-19?
No, I'm not here to discuss statistics. I'm not here to...
I'm going to ask you a question.
Well, I mean, I'm here to ask you questions.
No,
it's not,
I've asked you a question now.
It's not my duty to answer your questions.
No, okay.
I don't answer questions.
Okay. How many people have died? Just even, do you know?
I don't answer questions, Guard. I'm just looking for information.
Okay. Anyway, come on.
Okay, so if it is against the law in terms of constitutionally speaking,
Who's saying it's against the law?
well, if it's not against the law, then nobody can end up before the court for not wearing a mask. And if it's, can I just finish? And if it's not law, then
it's going to be law.
can I just say, if it's not constitutional, it can't be law. So if somebody passes, so for example, if somebody passes something into law, in inverted commas, it cannot be against constitutional freedoms.
No, the Constitution will say that any acts, regulations enacted by the Dáil or by the government of the day, but they have to be enforced.
Okay, so can the government, anybody who's in a position of power, okay, because it's not beyond the realm of possibility that somebody might infiltrate our government. So if somebody infiltrated our government and they tried to pass a law, that would be. Can I just finish? Can I just finish? Yeah, but so.
I'm going back to the original question, Stephen. I'm going to ask you that.
This is in relation to the question. Why are you trying to talk? But guards, why are you shouting me down? Why are you shouting me down? Guards, 2 of you talking over me at the one time. You're not. We're already in it. Guard, we're already in discussion.
Okay.
Stephen, you're surmising. We're not here to surmise.
I'm not surmising. I'm standing on the Constitution. So I want to offer you some information today.
Okay, you want some information.
Regarding sale of goods and services, okay, there are certain statutes that are in place. So I could say, Guard, you can't come into my shop unless you're wearing a bikini. That'd be unreasonable and unfair to ask you to do so, when you're just a natural man looking to seek out food to feed his family and to survive. If I then ask you something that's ridiculous and unfair and unreasonable, and it hasn't been shown to be scientifically proven or sufficiently substantiated, and there are lots of evidences to the contrary, then in order to, if somebody goes about implementing that as a condition of sale, then they're acting in contrary to the Constitution. Doesn't matter if it's coming from the Dáil, they're still acting in contrary to the Constitution. I, as an Irishman, happen to know my rights.
This is all your interpretation. And
It's not interpretation, this is according to the Constitution.
If regulations are signed in from Monday but make masks mandatory in shops and shopping centres, then they're regulations.
Are you saying you will arrest people for trying to buy food if they're not wearing a mask?
I'm not saying, we never said that.
Stephen,
I'm asking
what
you.
I'm trying to say is what we will try to do is we'll try and engage with the person first.
Yeah.
We'll explain to him why.
And what if he says, I don't want to wear a mask because it's against my constitutional freedoms?
You're surmising we're not actually at that point in time at the moment, Stephen.
But I'm giving you, what if I said that?
It's not happening.
It's not happening. We're not at that point at the moment, okay?
It's not what, sorry? Sorry, guards, you're both talking at the same time. Can you one talk at a time?
You're surmising a situation.
No, I'm giving you a
No, we don't do a hypothetical situation.
well, you have to.
We don't.
You have to. That's how law works.
No, we don't.
You do. How else would you draw up a law? In terms of law, you have to be. There has to be a hypothetical situation.
We don't draw up laws.
But I mean, one.
We don't.
I don't mean you do. I mean, how does one draw up a
We
law?
don't draw up laws.
Yeah, no, but how does one?
I don't.
Yeah.
We don't draw up laws.
Yeah, but you vote on them.
We don't draw up laws as you vote on laws.
Yeah.
We don't draw up laws.
Yeah.
We don't.
Okay, you've said that.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we can't get
So, but I'm saying, how
You're
does?
surmising law, we
Yeah,
can't
but
say
they must hypothesize to draw up law. They do. They have to say, hypothetically speaking, somebody walks into Tesco with no mask on, then they go to jail for 6 months. That's a hypothetical,
that's not our
because it hasn't happened yet.
That's not our function.
So that's a
We're
hypothetical.
not going to comment on anything that hasn't happened yet, as you just said, okay?
Yes, but what you do have to do is what you do. But
guard,
guard, your station is to, or your office is to engage the public if they have any questions. One sec. Can I finish my sentence? If you're engaging the public and they're saying to you, can you inform us on a constitutional matter? It is then your position to inform them on that constitutional matter.
No, my
Yeah.
with you right
Public
now,
information,
Stephen, is
public
asking
knowledge.
you questions, and I'm telling you that I haven't seen sight of the regulations now. When the regulations do issue, I will have a read them, like all my colleagues here in Wexford Station will do, and we will look at the advices that are given to us. In terms of that,
Is advice law?
what I'm telling you now is we
Yeah.
will engage with the person. What I'd like here now, I would be kind of encouraging you and encouraging everyone else I meet, if them regulations come into place, that they comply with them.
And if they don't, will you deny them access to food and water?
Stephen, I'm just asking a question.
I'm asking you a question, guard.
Stephen, we're not in that position at the moment. I'm in the position where you've asked me about these regulations.
Okay.
And I haven't seen sight of them, okay?
I just want to know what would happen.
Once I see sight of them, I will be able to tell you. You
Yeah.
seem to have a lot more information from me because you, after being online and you've looked at the Citizens Advice Bureau. And
I think it's very important.
About the penalties and all that, you seem to be in a lot better position to tell me at the moment. I haven't seen.
Can I
sight
give you a
of
small piece of
regulations.
information off the website?
Pardon?
Can I give you a piece of information off the website?
If you want, Stephen.
It says this. Face coverings cannot be considered personal protective equipment. That's on citizens' information.
Okay.
So if they cannot be considered personal protective equipment, where's the science saying that you should wear it?
You're again asking things
But we don't know the answer.
Yeah, no, but I'm
Obviously, Stephen, if there's regulations going to be issued by
Yeah.
government, the science is actually behind that because government would not issue regulations unless they have support to actually support.
that's an assumption on your part.
Yeah, like you're making a lot of assumptions. And
No, I've done my
consider
research,
each
but
other as well.
yeah. I appreciate, look, guards, I appreciate you engaging me as both men and as guards. You're in a difficult situation because you have to uphold law when it comes into effect. You have an office to keep, but you're also men. So I'm appealing to you as men and policemen because you're citizens of the state. You both pay your taxes.
All I'm asking you to do from Monday, if we do have these regulations, and I don't know why you're actually coming up here to actually bring these
I
to the fore
think it's
today.
very important.
What I would ask is that basically, if there are regulations and the regulations state that you have to wear a face covering going into a shop or a shopping centre, I'm asking you that you comply with that. And if you like everyone else, we will be asking, engaging with them, explaining to them the reasons why, and basically asking everyone to comply with
And if I preferred to breathe unhindered, as is my right as a natural man of the land, what would you say to me, as per the Irish Constitution?
Again, you're surmising.
No, I'm not surmising. I'm a natural man of the land. That's not a
conversation with
surmise.
you.
It's not Monday.
That's not surmising.
You bring the situation forward to Monday. It's not Monday.
Can we not talk about Monday?
No, because it's not Monday.
I know that.
And again, Stephen.
But I'm asking you a question.
But what I'm saying to you about Monday.
What would you do on Monday if?
I'm not asking, I don't do what's it.
Well, how do you brief then? How do you know? I mean, this is ridiculous, guard. You're saying you go into a situation not knowing what you're going to do. That's dangerous.
You're not listening.
You have to know the law and what you're supposed to do as a reaction of the law.
About a situation. You seem to have more clear to me about the regulations for Monday.
I don't know that.
you seem to have than we have.
I don't, well, just because I'm speaking more about them doesn't mean I know more about them.
Stephen, I've no doubt it's going to be the same as what we have been doing throughout this COVID. We will actually encourage. If I meet you Monday and we're in a situation, we will explain to you, we will encourage you, and we'll have a positive conversation with you to tell you that the reason these regulations are in place is in order to allow us to convince you that the regulations are there for a given reason.
The regulations are there to convince me.
To tell you, so that you comply with the regulations, to inform you.
But as a natural man of the land, I'm entitled to breathe unhindered, guards.
We can't. You're making a situation. We can't. We can only advise you. That's your role. And what you do and the advice we
Yeah.
give you, that's your personal responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the conversation finishes.
Mm-hmm. Why does it finish there?
Because we can only advise your own
But I have more
personal
questions.
responsibility.
I have more questions.
The questions we've answered.
Sale and goods.
But would you agree we're going around in circles here, Stephen?
I don't agree. I think sale of goods and services is very clear.
Okay.
A condition of service cannot be unproven, unscientific. It cannot be unreasonable or unfair.
And have you had this conversation with any of your public representatives?
No, I don't have to.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. I'm just asking, have you had that conversation with anyone else? Stephen, the fact on Monday is, if the regulations are signed in,
Yes.
okay, we will actually be briefed, we will read them ourselves, okay, and then we will deal with them accordingly if we come across anyone on Monday who's not complying with the regulations.
So what I've gathered from this conversation is this. If I go into Tesco, which I've been doing for, I think the guts of a year now, just every day to get my spuds and my water, whatever. If I go in, for some reason on Monday, now I have to wear a mask. If I go in on Monday, and they say, you can't come in here and buy your food and water unless you have this face hanky on. Like, it's like a face nappy. They're saying that, if I sneezed and I had a hanky, I wouldn't then slap it on my face before I went to Tesco. That's unhygienic, But they want you to keep these things on your face and go into Tesco, or else you're going to starve to death, basically what they're saying. You can't come in here with that mask on. Because you could die of thirst in 3 or 4 days, maybe 7 days. So if you're saying, the law is saying this, it's saying if you don't come into Tesco with this face hanky on, which is just blatantly unhygienic, then, the citizens' information have said it's not a piece of personal protective equipment. But if you don't have this on, we can jail you for 6 months. I mean, that's just highly unconstitutional.
Steve, I'm just telling you, this is your interpretation.
So
One
can I just finish, Gard, and then I'll respectfully please. But if that's the case, and if the government are saying you can't, this shop doesn't want you here, basically, according to their condition of sales, and it's now mandatory to wear a mask or you go to jail. Well, who's going to feed a man's children? Who's going to feed? Is there going to be another place where a man can go and get food? Surely that's unconstitutional to starve people because they don't wear a face hanky, which hasn't been scientifically substantiated to help anybody.
Stephen, in those 60 seconds you may have asked 3 or 4 or 5 different questions, and I don't have the answers to your questions right now, okay? And you're making a lot of assertions and assumptions as well.
Mm-hmm.
And as well,
I didn't make any assumptions.
you did.
No, I made assertions.
And you did, and assertions.
We didn't interrupt you.
Okay,
Yep.
and the other thing is,
But don't lie about what I've said. Don't lie about what I've said. I didn't make assumptions.
We didn't interrupt you.
can I finish?
Yeah.
Okay, you're also interpreting the Constitution and various other things you made reference to. That's your interpretation on it, okay? Okay? I'm sure that many people have different interpretations of things. We haven't seen sight of the regulations yet, okay? As soon as we see sight of the regulations, we will know what penalties were. You said you were able to tell me what the penalties were.
Citizens' information, if you want to check it up.
Yeah, I'm not checking up right now here in front of you, Steve, when I'm talking to you, so I'm not going to give you an answer in relation to
Obviously,
some
yeah.
of the questions that you've actually posed to us here, okay?
Obviously.
You've posed many questions, but I don't have the answer. And as I said, a lot of these are your own interpretation of stuff that you've brought
In terms of what?
Just the Constitution, different things, whether laws are can be enacted, whether they're going to be constitutional, stuff like that. You've made a lot of assumptions there, okay?
No assumptions.
No, they're your
They're your assumptions and your assertions.
They're not assumptions.
They're your
To assume something, it means that you're assuming that something, it's a missing piece of a link that you're filling in something.
Maybe that's the way
I haven't done that.
Maybe.
No, Stephen, we've now discussed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have
I'm not
discussed
happy that Garda Síochána know how they're going to deal with this situation on Monday and it's Friday. I mean, that's worrying.
it. That's okay. That's gone. Your next point. Your word. What's your next point?
No, that's, I'm just saying
So
that,
you were, okay, so we're.
would you not agree that, like,
No, we're the Garda Síochána and we deal
We'll
with
be well prepared for any regulations that are enforced by the Minister
yeah.
or signed into. We'll be well briefed and we'll be well informed.
But surely you'd want to be prepared for people to come in prior to Monday and not just land at Tesco with no mask and kind of be roughed up a bit like in.
Stephen, we're not a 9 to 5 job, okay? We are working 24/7 and we have Saturday and Sunday. I'm sure.
Surely you men are not working 24/7.
Sorry?
You're not working 24 hours a day, lads.
There's other people in our organisation.
Yes, I mean the service is open 24/7.
Stephen, I can tell you that Gaurdai Síochána will definitely fully briefed and fully aware of what will be going
At
on
this stage?
come Monday if the regulations are signed in.
So what are you going to do? Get briefed on Sunday?
You're again. You're making certain.
That was a question, sir.
You're again making certain.
And I don't have to tell you how we work internally within our organisation. I don't have to.
But
our members
But are you going to get briefed on
Monday will be
Sunday?
fully briefed.
Your question was answered.
Who'd brief you on Sunday?
You don't. You never said you briefed, so you didn't have to answer.
That's why I'm asking.
You don't have to answer that question. You don't have to.
Stephen, as far as I see this conversation goes around in circles, and I think
I'm not going around in circles. I think it's very clear what's happening is you guys don't know. And you're not willing to discuss it in any detail. That's what I see.
I'm not saying we don't know, Stephen, but I'm not going to comment on something.
Well, if you don't
I
know,
haven't seen sight of the regulations. I haven't seen sight of the regulations that are
well, if you haven't seen the regulations, how can you know?
You're so why we're going around in circles.
I'm not going in circles.
No, we actually are because every
I'm
time
not.
okay. So you're not happy. If you're not happy with us two, that's grand.
You can go
This is where we are.
I haven't said I'm unhappy with you.
Sounds coming out of it.
You men, I'm not displeased with you men. I'm just saying as members of Garda Síochána, this is pretty poor.
I can tell you, Stephen, I will be fully aware and fully briefed of the regulations. If the Minister signs them at the weekend, over the weekend, I will be fully briefed, and all the members in Wexford Station will be fully briefed as well.
On Monday.
I can tell
For
you,
Monday.
For Monday.
our members will be fully briefed and fully aware of what's going on.
But not now when we're having a conversation. So can I come back on Monday and have the same conversation when you're better prepared?
You're welcome to come back here at any time. Anytime you're more than welcome to come back here to the station.
Okay. So do you guys know anything about the sale of goods and services? Sale of Goods Act 1980?
No, I'm not familiar with it now.
Not familiar with it?
I'm not familiar with it.
That would be important before you go out like kind of gung ho.
This Monday, you're going to points we said Monday.
Before you go out gung ho and start threatening people with 6 months in jail.
Who said